Okay, we're going to be putting the rear main oil seal, which goes in this housing around the outside the crank, on this Mercruiser 470. We'll follow it with the flywheel and everything. This is the seal that goes in there. Okay, that literally slips over the end of the crankshaft there and sits in that housing there. The housing's made up of two parts: the rear main bearing cap and the cast alloy of the block. So I'm going to put a bit of grease around the end of the crankshaft. This is to help the rubber of the lip seal slide in nicely into place without it creasing or doing any damage. I'm going to get the seal, just slide it onto the end of that crankshaft carefully, making sure it's not pinched or crimped or anything. And then, because the housing this seal goes into is made up of two parts, I'm gonna get some sealant and seal adhesive, and I'm gonna put it around the outside of this seal. Okay, and what that'll do is just get a solvent spray there, make sure it all sticks, and then put in the seal adhesive around the outside of it. So if there's any sort of imperfection or sort of on where the casing and the main bearing cap join together, any irregularities in there, this sealer will fill that irregularity, and then it'll and it won't leak. Really don't want this to leak. If this leaks, it's an engine out job, and it is a engine out, flywheel off, and you've got to do all this again, which I don't want to be doing. So I'm popping that seal in. There's probably a special tool to drive the seal home, but I've got a 3/8 drive extension, and I'm just gently tapping this seal into its housing. Don't want to hit it very hard. It is just a gentle tap, so you don't crease the metal part of the seal. You don't want to dent that, because if you dent it, it causes an area where it might leak. So it is literally just tapping it home, so as it goes into that housing and the outside face of the seal is flush with the outside of the housing. Once that's on, I'm going to wipe off any excess. There's nothing worse than seeing bulging out sealant around gasket faces or seals. I really hate that look. I want it to look nice. Even though nobody will ever see this, I'll know it's there. Check the face where the flywheel bolts up to is nice and clean. Get the flywheel. Now just pop that into place. Okay, that fits onto the end of straight onto the end of the crankshaft, and then it's gonna run some bolts into that. Okay, these are a fine threaded bolt on this, and they're shake-proof washers on them. That's why I'm not using any Loctite or anything. So I'm just gonna spin all these in. And once I've got them all spun in, so going around now, there's 6 bolts hold this flywheel to the crankshaft. I haven't got a torque setting for these bolts, I couldn't find one. So anyway, just going to give them a little nip to make sure that that flywheel is sat on the end of the crankshaft properly. And then I'm going to wedge the flywheel with this pry bar in the ring gear, so that I can give them a good winch up. Okay, if you notice, I'm going to tighten these in opposites, which is pulling the flywheel square against the end of the crankshaft. So there you go, going around. Now, I haven't got a torque setting for these bolts, so I am doing them up as tight as I dare. Okay, I don't want them to come loose. I don't really want to over tighten them either, because if you start over tightening bolts, they do what's called necking, and it makes it sort of, you stretch the bolt, and where you stretch the bolt, it necks in, and that's a weak point then, and bolts can shear off because they've been over tightened. So you've got to be a bit careful. And I just go around. Once I'm happy, I'm going to get the drive joint. I'm going to do exactly the same. Get the drive coupler, put that on, rizzle the bolts in around the outside, Now this is a brand new drive coupler. Okay, now I'll show you why I'm putting a brand new drive coupler on it at the end, but I'm going to get all these bolts in. Now the inside of this drive coupler, where the hub on the inside is made out of aluminium, and the drive shaft that goes into it out of your leg is made of steel. So the inside of this coupler is what we'll wear. Okay, so it's like the shaft, there's no wear at all on the shaft, just going around these bolts now, giving them a final nip up, again with my pry bar wedged in the flywheel. Got no torque settings for these either, so it's just, it is a case of just grin and bear it, afraid. And just go around, nip these bolts up, and that's it. That's the drive coupler now fitted on. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you my old drive coupler. See inside there, see all those splines, how they've worn to like razor blades. This probably wouldn't have lasted very long. Now I'm led to believe that that is caused by my engine not being in line. I'd like to thank you for watching that. If it was any interest or any use to you, or you liked it, give us a thumbs up. Going to be filming a bit more about this as it goes back together, and hopefully as I put it in the boat and restore it. So it's an ongoing thing. So subscribe if you want to keep up with what I'm trying to do. Any comments, leave me a comment. This is the first time I've had one of these engines apart, so if you see that I've done something wrong, I'd like to know. Just drop us a comment and say, oh wait, sort that out. So if you don't mind, that'd be good. But like I say, thanks again for watching, really appreciate it, and appreciate your comments and anything else. See you next time. Bye.